They went to our chief and asked him, he was a district head then, and asked him to call all his chiefs, and they pinpointed some specific senior pastors and some intellectuals living in our area to come to Zonkwa, the local government headquarters, for a meeting. No sooner they got there, they were asked to enter waiting buses that the meeting had been shifted to Kaduna. From there, oh yes, I must add here, a Katav man who was an inspector of police. He was the duty SPO. The commissioner of police charged with this job, Mr. Simeon Adioe, I was told, having been briefed, got to this inspector and asked him his name. He told him, "What tribe are you?" He said, "Katav." He said, "Come, remove your new uniform, wear civis, join these people." And that inspector is called Timothy Shelu Adams. So when they go to Kaduna, they were lumped into one police station. And because of the number, they had to be distributed to other police stations. What happened later, the memorandum will talk about. Can I proceed, sir?
Yes. Now you can continue this.
In this episode of Oputa Panel, Major General Zamani LEKWOT, a retired army officer and a Katav by indigene, took the witness box to read his petition. He delves into the history and origin of the 1992 Zango Katav crisis and how he was dragged into the case, charged with culpable homicide, and sentenced to death by hanging with no trial. If you enjoy this content, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, drop us a comment, and I'll see you in the next video.
Before this honorable commission shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
My Lord, we respectfully apply that counsel to the petitioner be permitted to lead him in evidence, in his evidence in chief.
Are you leading him?
No, my Lord, we are applying that his counsel be permitted to lead him in evidence.
His counsel?
Yes, his counsel.
That's been our practice.
My Lord, it's because Chief Gio Kajayi asked me to lead him in evidence.
Oh,
we would rather he led him in evidence, my Lord.
Do you want her to lead him?
Well, the instructions which Chief Gio Kajayi left, my Lord, is that she should lead him.
And
since he's a witness to the
all
commission.
witnesses are witness for commission.
Yes, my Lord.
But our practice here, if witness has counsel, section 18,
Very well, my Lord.
counsel can lead him.
Very well, my Lord.
Better you lead him.
Very well, my Lord.
Or do you want to? Oh, he's coming. Maybe that's the reason.
My Lord, may I seek the kind permission of the commission to go and do that which I cannot delegate?
Permission granted. Yes, progress.
Your full name, or has it?
Major General Zamani LEKWOT, retired.
Where do you live?
I live on 15A Kinkino Road, Kaduna.
What is your occupation?
I am an ex-serviceman and in business.
I see. You are one of the petitioners hearing.
Yes, my lord.
And you have prepared, you have submitted memoranda in respect of this matter.
Yes, my lord.
Right. Now, first, I want you to look at the memorandum which is headed Addendum to Katav Community Memoranda.
Yes, my lord.
That addendum, this memorandum, in fact, deals with the remote and immediate causes of the Zangon Katav riots of 1992.
Yes, my lord.
Right. Have you got it with you?
Yes, my lord.
Right, okay. Just you can read it. Start reading.
Yes, thank you, my lord.
Is it in evidence yet?
Yes. Well, it's been submitted.
Has it been tendered?
No, nothing has been tendered.
Well, tender it then. Exhibit 1.
Okay.
Exhibit 1. What's the original one? Has any exhibit been tendered in this case? Counsel? Has any evidence been tendered? Any exhibit? So this is exhibit 1.
Right. You have all that.
Addendum. All right, where is the original thing for which this is an addendum?
Yes.
The original petition.
No, latest standard is maybe my second collected it from my absence.
My lord, since they have not abandoned, I'm sorry, Leonard SA, since they have not abandoned the original petition, no, my lord, it would have been tied there to tender it and then make the addendum exhibit 2.
That's what I'm saying. Where is the
My lord,
original
copies
petition?
were given to you in Kano.
What?
My lord got his own copy in Kano. It's a Kano case.
My lord, we have extra copies. Ilya.
Memorandum submitted on behalf of. All right, tender mine. This one here. We have copies. Tender the original one as exhibit 1, addendum as exhibit 2.
With respect, my lord, I think from the point of sequence of the stories told, I think the addendum should come before the.
All right.
So they'll be tendered. So we tender the addendum first, or addendum and the main petition.
That's our memorandum.
The memorandum.
This other one is called memorandum.
That is so, my lord.
It's submitted on behalf of 7 persons.
That is so.
Or exhibit 2.
Yes. Which is different from my other.
Yes.
Yes. Now start with the addendum, please.
Yes, my lord. Before I do, I'd like to propose a few corrections. Paragraph 1. Please amend 1983 to read 1998. Sorry, 1983 to read 1988. 3 should be amended to please read 8. Page 3. Page 3. 7th line from the bottom. Instead of ordering a proper investigation first and foremost, please amend most and replace it with all. Most after foremost should be amended to read all. Then the line below that, after Katav chiefs, please insert some. Second line below the first, after the words Katav chiefs, please insert some. Yes, that will be all.
Progress.
Addendum to the Katav Etiap Community Memoranda dated 30th July 1999, submitted to the Human Rights Violations Investigation Panel on the May 1992 Zangon Katav riots. Background. In 1988, the Kaduna state government directed all the local governments to explore new avenues for revenue generation. Consequently, they embarked on markets expansion or the opening of new ones. But surprisingly, some members of the Hausa community in Zangon Katav town, headquarters of the Katav community, opposed the decision to relocate the large weekly market to the outskirts of the town to accommodate more traders. The Zangon Katav Local Government Council, therefore, inherited the problem from the then Kachia local government when it was created in 1987. By January 1992, however, after a long enlightenment campaign, the compensation payable to the farmers who had offered parts of their land for the relocation of the market had been fully assessed by the new council. When the entire community, in response to the local government order, assembled at the new site on the 6th of February 1992 to start business, higher thugs disrupted the proceedings, culminating in a free-for-all fight in which 6 persons were killed and some properties were destroyed. Consequently, the state government set up a judicial commission of inquiry to investigate the remote and immediate causes of the riot and recommend a permanent solution. All the parties went to the inquiry to defend their memoranda. The high point of the Katav memorandum was that government should ratify the new residential layout approved by the then Kachia Local Government Council in 1988, of which the new market was a part, where all citizens resident in the local government could acquire and develop plots to encourage integration. In that way, the mutual suspicion which the then apartheid system, the Zazo Emirate, established and nurtured over the years, that more than anything else led to the confrontation, would give way to a new atmosphere of brotherhood, mutual trust and understanding, and enhance permanent peace, stability, and progress. The Commission of Inquiry conducted its hearings, concluded, I beg your pardon, its hearings in April 1992. Our people were therefore waiting for the government white paper on its findings when suddenly they saw a copy of the letter at Appendix A attached hereto, dated 9th May 1992. It was addressed to His Highness Alhaji Ibrahim Dasuki, the then Sultan of Sokoto, by the Izala group in Zangon Katav town, urging him to do something about the Muslims who had died in the market riot on the 6th of February 1992. Otherwise, a jihad will start from Zangon Katav. Copies of the letter containing the threat were sent to His Highness the Emir of Zazzau, some other emirs, the state governor, the state security service, the commissioner of police, and different Islamic organizations in the land.
Now, can I interrupt you? Can you, at this stage, read that letter where it is one of the appendices?
Yes, my lord. That is Appendix A. Appendix A.
We want to tender as an exhibit. If you have a copy, have you got an extra copy?
It's part
No,
of the
it's a part of
addendum.
addendum.
Yes, my
You
lord.
don't want to tender it separately. It's all right.
Well, I can remove this and, yes, my lord.
Mark that exhibit 3. For ease of reference, exhibit 3. Piece of paper and then mark it exhibit 3.
Nigerian Aid Group of Jama'atun Izalatun Bidia wa Ikamatu Sunnah, Zangon Katav Division, Headquarters, Kaduna State, 9th May 1992. His Royal Highness the Sultan, Alhaji Ibrahim Dasuki, petition. From the organization addressed above, we bring you greetings with respect. We pray for God to help you. We wish to inform you, Your Royal Highness, that since the first crisis in Zangon Katav, where Muslims over 100 lost their lives. In fact, only God knows how many there were, with millions of naira worth of property destroyed. The residents of Zango have not had any peace of mind because of the ugly things the Katav tribe have been doing to we Muslims in Zango town. The tribes inside Zango are many, including Hausa, Fulani, Yoruba, Igbo, Nupe, Bornese, Jukuns, and others. All these tribes inside Zango are Muslims believers in Prophet Muhammad, SAW in bracket. And all of these, there is none that does not have a house or farm which he has inherited from his ancestors for the past 70 years. Also, the town is surrounded by the Katavs, who in fact came after we had settled in this town. After they waged a war on the town, the state government set up a committee to look into the crisis and even sent the police, but despite these, residents of the town have had no right to work on their farms. For example, after the crisis, Mr. M. Ghana and A. Guro, A. Ibrahim, N. Shuaibu, M. Usman, A. Rabin, M. Tanko, A. Shehu, Dan Iya, Musa Yakubu, and A. Abdu, just to mention a few, have been prevented from working on their farms and have in fact been shot at with traditional guns. Reports have continuously been sent to the authorities, but the Katav have refused to stop. Also, the State Police Commissioner was informed about this, but up to date, no one has been arrested. However, in response to this, the Deputy Governor of Kaduna State, who hails from that area, with other commissioners from the Zango LGA, sought a peace meeting between the people of Zango and the Katavs on the 3rd of May, 1992. And the meeting lasted for about 4 hours. At the end of the meeting, an agreement was reached between the two communities that they should henceforth live in peace and that they should resume their normal commercial activities. Also, the Katav promised not to prevent the people of Zango from tilling their land and that they will not destroy their farm produce. After the above accord was reached, surprisingly, on the 4th of May 1992, the Katavs breached the accord when they went into farms belonging to Muslims and destroyed their crops. A few of the people whose, there is a gap there, and yams were destroyed include Munsa Jio, Alhaji Dan Asabe Lawal, Dan Lami Chakaikai, Isan Maka, Salisu Gege, Alhaji Dabang Ajia, and other farmers. These unfolding events made us feel that they are beyond the ability of government to handle. It is on this basis we are petitioning you to come to our rescue because the situation is worrying us. Well, as you very well know, we Muslims in Nigeria are very patient, but just as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enjoin us when we feel cheated, it is possible for the jihad in Nigeria to start from Zangon Katav. And you know, for the Muslim, when he is killed, he will go straight to heaven. And also, if he kills, he will equally go to heaven. Because Allah commanded all Muslims to wage a jihad anywhere they feel that injustice is being meted out to them. This is in according to what God says in the Holy Quran. Because of the above, we felt that we will be provoked, that we may be forced to retaliate, which may not be pleasing to all Muslim leaders and the whole government. As far as our association is concerned, when we see that the situation is going to cheat Nigerian Muslims, we feel compelled to inform our leaders. Thank you. May Allah protect and bring glory to you, and may He glorify all Muslims and Islam wherever they may be. Amen. Wassalamu alaikum. Signed, Aliu I. Jibrin. For Secretary NASG, JIBWS, Zangon Katav Branch, Kaduna State. This letter was copied to His Excellency, the Kaduna State Governor of the time, His Royal Highness, the Emir of Zaria, His Royal Highness, the Emir of Kano, Kaduna State Police Commissioner, Director, SSS, Jama'atu Nasril Islam, Jama'atu Izalatu Bidia wa Ikamatul Sunnah, the 8th Group, Filiam Islam, Ansar Uddin Society, Islam Filin Kano, Council of Ulama, the 12th is blank, Chairman, Zangon Katav Local Government, the District Head of Zangon Katav. My Lord, I'd like to add here that the only way we knew this was when 2 days to the strike, the local government chairman was signed.
You said to the strike. Can you explain that?
Well, 2 days to the outbreak of to the attack of the Afabwambule village.
Yes.
Although the letter was written on the 9th of May, but the chairman of the local government at the time, the chief security officer, did not get his copy until on 13th.
13th of May, yes.
Yes, my lord. According to information. I continue. It was addressed to His Highness Alhaji Ibrahim Dasuki, the then Sultan of Sokoto, by the Izala group in Zangon, Katav town, urging him to do something about the Muslims who had died in the market riot of the 6th of February 92. Otherwise, a jihad would start from Zangon, Katav. Copies of the letter were sent to, I have read that. Paragraph 4. Apparently, none of the recipients of the letter did anything. As a result, the authors carried out their terrible threat by attacking the Katav village of Afabwang with guns, swords and knives, and so forth on Friday, 15th May, 1992. That was how I was told by eyewitnesses the riot started, leading to the sad loss of lives and property on both sides. The following Katavs and other Nigerians living in our midst, as shown in memorandum number 742, that is the second memorandum, were killed. Shan Shekari, John Beal, Samuel Tabakwat, Baba Yayok, Ilya Yabwat, Dauda Zango, Yaron Kashi, Sofa Daniel Zwandien, Solomon Auta, Shein La, Mokoshievong, Bodam Kuka, Balaya Shim, Ishaya Tokan, Baba Yaya, Ishaku Bulus, Kafoye Kut, Matthias Gwaza, Shanka, Kasai Tunjang, Kahu Mararei, Kasai Tokan, Dauda Ibrahim, Malam Buhu, Abu Umaru, Yusuf Abatat, Yusuf Eye, Daniel Nde, Samuel Yanshio, Baintala, Ishaya Kato, John Mbwanu. Instead of ordering a proper investigation first and foremost, all of the Katav chiefs, some senior pastors, intellectuals, and others shown in paragraph 11 below were arrested and taken to different police stations in Kaduna.
Now, can you break a minute? Now, can you tell these legislature members of the tribunal how they managed to arrest all of them?
How they managed to arrest?
Yes. The strategy that was employed.
As I was told, they went to our chief and asked him, he was a district head then, and asked him to call all his chiefs, and they pinpointed some specific senior pastors and some intellectuals living in our area to come to Zonkwa, the local government headquarters, for a meeting. No sooner they got there, they were asked to enter waiting buses, that the meeting had been shifted to Kaduna. From there, oh yes, I must add here, a Katav man who was an inspector of police. He was the duty SPO. The commissioner of police charged with this job, Mr. Simeon Adioe, I was told, having been briefed, got to this inspector and asked him his name. He told him, "What tribe are you?" He said, "Katav." He said, "Come, remove your new uniform, wear civis, join these people." And that inspector is called Timothy Shelu Adams. So when they got to Kaduna, they were lumped into one police station. And because of the number, they had to be distributed to other police stations. What happened later, the memorandum will talk about. Can I proceed, sir?
Now you can continue this. Instead of ordering a proper investigation.
Yes, sir. Instead of ordering a proper investigation first and foremost, all of the Katav chiefs, some senior pastors, intellectuals, and others shown in paragraph 11 below were arrested and taken to different police stations in Kaduna. Not a single Hausa man from Zangon Katav town who started the fight was questioned. The terms of reference of the Kujo Commission of Inquiry into the 6 February 1992 market riot were expanded, and more time was given to them to cover the new development. The arrests. On Monday, 18th May 1992, at about 3 p.m., Colonel A. Madaki retired, and I called at the police headquarters, Kaduna, to see the commissioner. We met the late DIG Sami Udara, the then zonal commander in Kano, DIG Ibrahim Kumasi from the force headquarters, Lagos, and some 2 other people there instead, who told us that the commissioner had gone to Jos for a seminar. We were invited to a room where I was automatically placed under arrest by one ACP, then Uba B. Ringim, whom I understand is now the Commissioner of Police, Borno State, from the force headquarters, Lagos. On what charge? I demanded, merely to be told that it had to do with the Zangon Katav crisis. Since I live in Kaduna with my family, what is the connection? I asked. He said nothing. Colonel Madaki retired, then broke the silence by offering himself for arrest as a native of Zangon Katav local government as well. But he was told not to worry. As a lawyer, he then offered to bail me as his client, only to be told to go away and return an hour later, after I might have answered some questions. Barely 15 minutes later, I was whisked away in a car by ACP Uba Ringim to the police officers' mess, Kaduna, and locked up in a room. The time at this time was around 4 p.m. Mr. Ringim turned up about 10 a.m. the next morning with a piece of paper containing the following questions. 1. Was I, General LEKWOT, angry with anyone in government over my premature retirement from the service? 2. Was I angry with anyone in government for not being made the Chief of Army Staff? 3. How many houses had I in London? And 4. How much money had I in Switzerland? My answers to the above questions were very simple. 1. Following the coup of 31st December 1983, I volunteered to serve as ambassador abroad for 3 years without being prompted by anybody. 2. The Chief of Army Staff, like other positions in this category, is appointed by Mr. President as he wishes. The question of my being angry with anyone did not therefore arise. My sole ambition had always been, since I joined the army, to make the rank of a general, and by God's grace, I had made it. 4. I have no house in London or anywhere else outside Nigeria. I have no bank accounts in Switzerland. I declared my assets on being appointed the military governor of the River State in July 1975, and in 1978 on being reassigned to other military duties. After 6 hours of interrogation, I was released to my family with an apology for the contumely. Mr. Ringim then advised me to leave the state for a while for the tension to subside. I thanked him and promised to think about it. Having nothing to hide, however, I discarded the idea and remained in Kaduna. At 10 o'clock the following morning, Alhaji Uba Ringim recalled me to the police headquarters, Kaduna, to clear some gray areas in respect of what transpired the previous day. Knowing what that could mean, I requested Colonel Madaki to accompany me. When we got there, I was put in a Range Rover and driven straight to the Wise police stations, Abuja, and left in an officer's office at about 1 p.m. At 6 p.m., I was taken to the counter downstairs where my wristwatch, belt, and shoes were removed, and I was thrown into a cell next to the armed robbery suspects and other hardened criminals. I had only a short-sleeved casual wear on and had to squat most of the night as the floor was soaked with stinking water from the leaking toilet just a foot away. Worst of all, the giant mosquitoes had a field day, as a result of which I was later down with heavy malaria. The gory details of my encounter with the other inmates must be reserved for another occasion. Meanwhile, it was the longest night of my life. Next morning, at 8 a.m., I was taken to the counter where I met Dr. Beko Ransom Kuti, Mr. Baba Omojola, and Barrister Femi Falana in their pajamas and bathroom slippers. We were then transferred to the Kuje prison, where 2 days later, Chief Gani Fayehumi joined us. Here, we remained incommunicado for a whole month before we started getting visits from our families. On the 20th of May 1992, following the illegal dissolution of the Zangon Katav Local Government Council, the elected chairman, Mr. ACP JB Ayog, retired, and the only Katav portfolio councillor, Major J.A. Kude, retired, and 19 Katav chiefs, church elders, intellectuals, and others were invited to the local government headquarters Zamkwa for a meeting. They were all put into waiting buses on arrival by CP Simeon Odoe and taken to the Gabasawa police station, Kaduna, without a warrant or the courtesy of an explanation. The hunt for civil servants and the businessmen of Katav extraction within the Kaduna metropolis continued. After about 2 months' search, 40 more were rounded up and detained in different police stations. The list was compiled in Abuja and Kaduna by people in high places to lay a foundation for the vendetta that followed later. For instance, for about 60 days, the detainees were kept in the open spaces surrounding the police stations they were detained in, without any feeding arrangement by the police whatsoever. It was later on that they were taken to the Kaduna prison for the ordeal which is the subject of our memoranda. On the whole, 62 people were detained in the Kaduna prison. They are Mr. Bala Adedoke, who was 71 years old, our district head then, now His Royal Highness Ogwatiap. ACP Juri Babang Ayok, 67 years old. He was the chairman of the local government then, who was unceremoniously removed following the dissolution of the local government. In a sense, if the law had been followed, being the chief security officer, the government should have invited him, should have used him to use his connections to find out what actually happened. The fact that that was not done shows the intention of the government then, which explains in part why we're here, just to make sure that this bad precedence doesn't happen again. Major General Zamani LEKWOT, Mr. Ilya Maza, Yunana Kibori, who was 69 years old, Marcus Mamman, 74 years then, Mr. Julius Serki, who is now late, Mr. Zamani Kaza, who was 87, Shakarauka, Sani Adam, Ayuba Tache, Jonathan Yashim, Bala Bonet, Major James, Atomi Kude, Adamu Shakari, Peter LEKWOT, Tonak Dabo.
Sorry, General, you can omit the names and...
Yes, sir. The names are shown on pages 6 to 8. Mr. James Gandu, late.
Yeah, okay. Can you, just for emphasis, can you list those who are over 80 years old? How many of them?
Okay, sir. Those who are over 80 years old, yes. Sani Adam Jankasa was 81.
Kaza.
Yes, sir. That is Roman 10. Then next to that, 8. Yeah, well, Zamani Kaza was 87. That is 8. Then we come to Roman 26. Mr. Katoyashim was 96 years old. These are very old people and chiefs at that matter, whom we all respect for their wisdom. Then number 30, the late Reverend Dodo Jr., he was 96 years old. Then next to him, Adamu Maga, 84 years. Then next to that, Roman 34. Albehu Dauke, another chief, 86 years old. Then next, Bityong Yashim, who is now late, 86 years old. Yes. Mr. James Gandu, late from Apioko, was deliberately kept at the Gabaza police station alone for 16 months without charge until he was released along with others when Abuja so ordered. He died a few months later for reasons not unconnected with his 16 months solitary confinement. My Lord, this particular officer was a good man and a gentleman, but his offenses were 2. Being a Katav man, 2. He was the manager of the Kaduna Agricultural Development Project in Samaru. So they rounded him up. They wouldn't charge him. They wouldn't release him. But they made sure they created a situation whereby when he was released, he couldn't survive. The trials. On 26 May 1992, the head of state, General Ibrahim Babangida, paid a surprise visit to Zangon Katav town. According to eyewitnesses, he wept openly there and declared those arrested guilty until they exculpated themselves at a tribunal to be set up later. In his entourage were Alhaji Dabo Leire, the state governor, the FCT minister then, Major General Gado Nasco, the general officer commanding 1 mechanized division, Brigadier Ahmed Daku, among others.
Isn't there a name missing? Isn't there some important personality in government who was with them on that day?
Oh, yes, sir. The late Aliu Jamaa, the then secretary to the government, was also there.
Did he have any connection with Zango?
Oh, yes, he grew up in Zango. He grew up in Zango. Zango was his town, really. 2 tribunals were established by us, to try us. One led by Justice B. Okadibo, retired, and the other by Justice Emmanuel Adegbite, also retired. I was transferred from the Kuje prison to Kaduna on the 31st of July, 1992. On 3rd August, the following 7 people were arraigned before the Okadibo Tribunal. I was there, ACP Ayok was there, Major Kude was there, Yunana Kibori was there, Marcus Mamu was there, Malan Yahaya Dunia was there, and the late Julius Serki Zamandabo. The charges preferred against us were: 1. Unlawful assembly, the common object which was, by show of criminal force, to enforce the supposed rights of Katavs, and thereby committed an offense punishable under Section 102 of the Penal Code, Cap 89, Law of Northern Nigeria, 1963, as applicable in Kaduna State. 2. Rioting. 3. Rioting while being armed with weapons. 4. Disturbing public peace. The prosecution called 12 witnesses and closed its case, while the defense, the first and second accused only, called 9 witnesses, which means the other 5 accused were not asked anything. And there is a reason for it. The tribunal was stunned when the second accused, ACP JB Ayog, retired, produced documents confirming his having kept the state governor, Alhaji Dabo Lere, fully posted on the situation in the local government regularly, but to no avail. The tribunal then suddenly adjourned. When it resumed sitting some days later, the Attorney General of the Federation entered a nolle prosequi. In consequence, we were discharged, but we were immediately rearrested without a warrant and promptly returned to the Kaduna prison. What seemed to have disturbed the government most was the able way the defense lawyers discredited the prosecuting witnesses and the documents which the second accused, as chairman of the local government, tendered as proof of his having kept the state governor fully posted on the situation before it exploded. Meaning that if he had done something earlier, the principle of prevention is better than cure would have obviated the terrible tragedy that happened. The district head also produced conclusive proof of the Emir of Zaria being fully informed of the situation well in advance. Nevertheless, these reports were ignored. The arrests and persecution of our people was therefore a big cover-up by government. That added to the open hostility of the tribunal chairman to the entire defense team since the trial began, left no one in doubt that head or tail we could not get a fair trial. To add insult to injury, more charges were later added to the original 4 when the trial resumed, but without lifting the nolle prosequi. For instance, the 22nd head of charge, the 22nd head of the new charges framed against us, the first and second accused, during the second trial read that you, Major General Zamani LEKWOT, and Jury B. Ayok, on or about the 16th day of May 1992 at Zangon Katav, within the Kafanchan Judicial Division, abetted the commission of an offense of culpable homicide, punishable with death, under Section 22B of the Penal Code, by doing an act with, you led and instigated a group of Katavs, including the said Marcus Mamman, to round up the Hausa people to a field where one Abdullahi Sarkim Power was killed by the said Marcus Mamman, and you thereby committed an offense punishable under Section 85 of the Penal Code, unquote. As a result, our lawyers filed an action at the Kaduna High Court seeking leave to enforce our fundamental rights. After many delays, to list the appeal for hearing by the Supreme Court, as the main memo elucidates, Asarok confirmed our suspicion that the tribunal had a mission to deliver us to the gallows when they took the following action. On 3rd December 1992, Decree number 55 was promulgated, prescribing that the decision of the tribunal would be final and that no appeal on its verdict would lie in any court. In protest, our lawyers withdrew from the case. Only the private legal practitioner, Mr. O. Ayodele, whom the Federal Ministry of Justice hired from Kano to prosecute the case for them, and the Nigeria police lawyer remain at the tribunal. Being the first accused, I appeal to the tribunal on behalf of my colleagues for 24 hours bail to secure another lawyer. To our consternation, the chairman refused, adding that only Abuja could grant our request. But why didn't he contact Abuja to consider? He didn't. He offered us instead the services of a lawyer of his own choice. Of course, we declined his offer because Asorok, who appointed him, were also our accusers and our investigators and our judges and our prosecutors. To accept that unknown lawyer would have tantamount to ushering in a Trojan horse into our camp, to our chagrin, so we refused. The judge then ordered us Correction. The judge then ordered me, the first accused, to defend myself in the circumstance. I became more suspicious and requested him to explain the implication of an accused fighting for his life without a defense lawyer of his own choice. He dropped his pen and after some 2 or so minutes said something I did not understand. After the recess, he announced that he was going to give judgment based on the case made by the prosecution and without a word to any of my 6 colleagues in the dock. During the first trial, before the Noli Prisci was entered, the secretary to the then Zangon Katav local government tendered the signed minutes of the security meeting which ACP JB Ayog, retired, the second accused, was holding at the headquarters in Zonkwa, over 20 kilometers away, when the riot started in Zangon Katav town on Friday, 15th May 1992. Major J.A. Kude, retired, the portfolio counselor for education, also attended the meeting. Except ACP J.B. Ayok, retired, the second accused, who was discharged and acquitted based on the above alibi at the first trial, we were all condemned to death by hanging without defense. Curiously, Major J. Kude, retired, who was at the security meeting with the chairman and therefore was entitled to the same alibi, was also condemned to death with us, thereby confirming the gross conflicts and inconsistencies of the trial. On getting to the prison later, as condemned innocent men, we were all moved to the condemned cells. My own cell was so close to the gallows that it was the first thing I saw every morning when I woke up. We were later transferred to the Port Harcourt prison to be executed to ensure maximum discomfiture for me as a former military governor of the River State. On the whole, the following people were condemned, convicted, or discharged and acquitted, as the case may be, by the Okadibo Tribunal. They are reflected on page 12, A, B, up to page 13, C. To save time, I will skip reading the names. To expose this travesty of justice, we appeal to the then Minister of Justice for a copy of the proceedings. 8 years after, despite promises to that effect, we have received no copy of the proceedings. See Appendix N, YM3 to the main memorandum and 1M1 to 3 attached here too. These were letters written by Colonel Madaki, retired, one of our counsels, corresponding with the then Attorney General, as well as the Secretary to the Tribunal. Obviously, some people made up their mind to do us in. There was no need for niceties. So today, the proceedings of the Tribunal, the entitlement of anybody, not even the accused, was denied us. I hope the Lord will surface them. The second trial. This tribunal, led by Justice Emmanuel Adegbite, retired, was set up much later on, seemingly to speed up the trials. Nevertheless, the real reason may have been to visit stiffer punishment on some of the accused who had either been earlier acquitted by the Okadibo Tribunal or received light sentences. However, Mr. Peter LEKWOT was saved from the death sentence by the interview granted by Barrister G.A. Graham Douglas, SAN, and member of the Okadibo Tribunal in the Guardian Weekly of 15th February 1993, 2 days after we were condemned, at Appendix D to the main memorandum. True to his professional conscience and good upbringing, this senior counsel had withdrawn from the tribunal in protest against the travesty of the whole trial. The additional sentences passed on our people by the above tribunal were as follows. They are reflected on page 14. Those released without charge or explanation. The following persons were released from the Kaduna prison after over 16 months confinement without any explanation or apology. They are shown here. There are 41. 41 people. Most of these were our chiefs, royal fathers, church leaders, and people they couldn't find any alibi to frame them. They were released just like that. The manipulation of the system in high places. When the domestic and international pressure against the miscarriage of justice done at the two tribunals built up in 1993, the triumvirate met and committed the sentences to lesser terms of imprisonment without the knowledge of the Armed Forces Ruling Council, contrary to the relevant decree. This means that the proceedings of our trial never saw the light of day, which explains why, for 8 years, our lawyers have not succeeded in receiving copies despite persistent requests, meaning that people in high places were truly responsible for our persecution. It is noteworthy that although Inspectors Timothy Shelu Adams and Bulus Bako, now late, were discharged and acquitted, none of them was reabsorbed into the Nigeria Police Force. Inspector Shelu Adams even took the police force to court in suit number FHC KD M9597 and won the case, but the Nigeria Police ignored the court order to recall him back to duty. Exhibit EXH KC.1 attached here to refers. He is therefore still languishing in the village without salary or retirement benefits, despite several appeals to the Inspector General of Police. Inspector Bulus Bako, who suffered the same fate, is now late without benefits to his family. Back home, the government of Alhaji Dabo Leire dismissed many of our people from the government service and stopped recruiting anymore into it for a while. Incidentally, the 90,000 votes from Zangon Katav local government gave Dabo Leire his governorship. And when he got there and started enjoying the spoils of office, he forgot about us. Moreover, all police officers, DSP and above, of Southern Kaduna extraction, not only Katav, and 2 marked ASPs of the Atiap tribe were posted out of the state at that time, and is still so in some cases. The conspiracy of the then federal military government and the Kaduna state government to annihilate the Atiap people. As the attached AVM Usman Muazu reconciliation report extracts, Appendix X, attached here to testify, government was anything but neutral in this case from the word go. For instance, when the sum of 25 million naira was provided for the rebuilding of the houses destroyed in Zangon Katav town during the riot, it was only our Muslim kith and kin that benefited. The 10 Katav and other non-Muslim family houses destroyed in the riot were not rebuilt. Thus, the reconstruction of houses and the payment of compensation were discriminatory. Our community school remained vandalized for many years until we taxed ourselves and started rehabilitating it. This honorable commission paid a visit and saw the school. In sum, except for the chiefdom, the Katav community was for the umpteenth time treated like that, a la the Zazau Emirates legacy of bygone years. This kind of lack of fairness and insensitivity to the feeling of others over the years, planted and nurtured the seed of discord that matured, primed, and gave birth to the unfortunate explosion of 1992, with its dire consequences on both sides. The letter from the then Emir of Zazzau, dated 3rd February 1940, attached at Appendix T, proves the point. The idea of trying to liquidate the Atiap leaders without even establishing their guilt through a proper investigation first gave the government of the day away. The takeover of the case overnight by the federal military government without giving the state government a chance to fail to cope first is enough to prove the point. The time has come for the powers that be to learn to treat all citizens fairly and equitably in the interests of permanent peace and stability. The people whose destroyed properties in the town were not rebuilt are shown paragraph 26.
Yes, please read out to those names.
Mr. Beatrice Mamman, Yabak Village, Tanko, Agwaya, Mayayit, Lukayashim, Manyeyui, Amadou Dambaki, Afabwang, Ibrahim Sule, Surubu, Yakubu, Adada, Gwantu, Usman Adamu, Gwantu, Yakubu Daniels, Godogodo, Thaddeus Bakura, Mancho, and Mrs. Paulina Anthony, Mawakili. They should all be fully compensated in the interest of fairness, equity, and justice. The crux of the matter. The main problem between the Atiap people, including the whole of the other southern Kaduna communities, and our Zazzau brothers and sisters over the years, has always been our resisting their use of the legacy of the indirect rule to colonize us. Since their advent, for example, they changed our names from Atiap to Katav, Baju to Kaje, Akulu to Ikulu, Angan to Kamantong, Adara to Kadara, Bagi to Gwari, Ashwalia to Moroa, Agorok to Kagoro, Ham to Java, Gong to Kagoma, Fancham to Kafanchan, and so forth. For the Atiap, they further changed all our towns' names to rub it in, because we had no educated people at the time to present our case to the British administrative officers. For example, Sankwap village name was changed to Runji, Kanai was changed to Gora, Ahian was changed to Kurfi, even River Akati was changed to Wawan Rafi, Foolish River. How did it happen, you may ask? They used their proximity to the British colonial administrators to register these names in the government records and on the maps, which as school children we had to swallow hook, line, and sinker. Our resistance to this serious threat to our cultural heritage and their persistent pressure to have their way, using coercion instead of diplomacy, gave rise to the friction that sparked on its own from time to time. Now that the government of the day has created this excellent platform for dialogue, in addition to the progressive program that has been put in place, a ray of hope has emerged at the horizon. In consequence, we are ready to cooperate in the interest of the stability of our country. That was why it is fair to state that after the tragic events narrated above, the 14-man Peace and Reconciliation Committee of 7 members from each side, shown in Appendix S, attached hereto, set up by the Kaduna State Government of the then Colonel Lawal Jafaru Isa in 1994, did an excellent job. Under the able leadership of AVM Usman Muazu, retired, and former military governor of Kaduna State, they recommended and the government accepted the panacea for permanent peace in the land. It is gratifying to note that the government of Alhaji Ahmed Makarfi has been implementing the remaining recommendations since May 1999. For instance, in addition to the reconstruction of the houses and the appointment of a district head for our Hausa kith and kin in the town, their farms have been returned to them. Compensation for the land acquired by government for overall riding public purpose is being worked out for them. For the Etiap, the site for the chief's house has now been properly located, and we are all happy about it because it's a recipe for integration and permanent peace. Above all, the new layout has been approved for all to live together as the brothers and sisters we have always been, but for the communication problem that accounts for all our misunderstanding in the past. Because of the present development, peace and stability will finally return to the community and reign supreme if the reliefs sought in our representations to redress the human rights abuses are fully addressed. What are we talking about? The improper parading of our respected chiefs and parents, one of whom was 100 years old then, elders and intellectuals as murderers before the whole world, without proper investigation and concrete proof, badly bruised our reputation as a community. The fallout of that today is that we are treated like outcasts by some groups because of the effective campaign of calumny some people masterminded to get even with us following the Zangon Katav crisis in 1992. Some of them even mischievously accuse our people of being responsible for the Kaduna crisis last year just to get even with us. Anytime there is something bad in Kaduna, some people will say it's by the Atiap people. But God knows that we are very good people and we will never look for trouble. B, the inhuman conditions in which we languished in different prisons in the land for up to 40 months in some cases was torture of the worst kind, especially for our aged royal fathers. Some have since died from the fallout of the long detention without charge or explanation in lieu. Even for the survivors, their businesses collapsed during their long sojourn in prison, not to talk of the trauma and anguish their families went through. The addition of more serious criminal charges like culpable homicide to the original 4, which were put under noli prosequi in the first trial, was a violation of our fundamental rights and gross abuse of due process. The promulgation of Decree number 55 in December 1992 with retrospective effect, denying us the right of appeal, when in fact our appeal against the violations of our fundamental rights by the Ogatable Tribunal was already registered for hearing at the Supreme Court, was a denial of our right to self-defense. That some of us were condemned to death after denying us bail to hire other lawyers of our choice in place of those that had been frustrated and had to withdraw from the case violated our fundamental rights, as confirmed by the African Commission on Human Rights verdict at Appendix R of the main memorandum. To assuage the trauma and anguish the detainees went through and to facilitate total reconciliation, to put the ugly past behind us, government is requested to favorably consider the following reliefs as well, please. 1, all the sentences passed during the 2 trials should be quashed to remove the stigma of an unjust conviction and the hatred and indignation arising from this point. My Lord, I'd like to explain a point here. This memorandum is for the Etia people and their brothers who are trapped into this plot. When the crisis spilled over to Kaduna, yes, some other ethnic groups, Hausa people inclusive, were charged. I know of 2 who were condemned by the same tribunal. By appealing for the expunging and the quashing of this trial, we mean everybody caught up in this should also, the case should be quashed so that we come back to the same level ground to facilitate the reconciliation which this commission is all out to ensure. 3, all the victims should be sufficiently rehabilitated in the interests of justice and equity and for their lives to return to normal, and then of course for them to bury the hatchet. In this regard, the payment of the sum of 10 million naira to each detainee as compensation and general damages is strongly recommended. We are talking of reconciliation. People who lost property, their houses were burned, others were rehabilitated, theirs were left out. Those who have been to prison will know what I'm talking about. So if we want true reconciliation, justice must be seen to be done to all the parties involved, irrespective of their inclination, because we all are Nigerians under the same law of the land. 3, proper infrastructure should be provided in the new layout so that all citizens in the chiefdom, regardless of ethnic and religious inclination, can live together to enhance mutual trust, harmony, understanding, and lasting peace. What is more, since so much was spent to resettle our Hausa kith and kin in the old town, without extending the same to us, it is fair for government to grant these reliefs to reassure all and sundry that all Nigerians have equal rights and privileges under the Constitution. Our vandalized community vocational school in Zangon Katav town should be rehabilitated, please. We have done a part of it, but a lot of the equipment are no more there. And I'm glad to say that in the next memorandum, a list has been made to help the Commission to help us. 5, the Federal Ministry of Justice or the Cabinet Office should be directed to release the proceedings of the Okadibo Tribunal for the Zangon Katav trials to the defense lawyers, as requested 8 years ago, but which Barrister Clement O. Akwambo, SAN, the then Attorney General, promised to do but failed. That done, the appeal now pending at the Supreme Court will be successfully conducted to finally put this problem to rest in the spirit of the current reconciliation program. My Lord, the point here before I conclude, for the first time in my life, the proceedings of people who are tried and condemned were hidden. What has helped us was that when the trial was going on, we had gone on appeal on an issue. In the next memorandum, our lawyer has ably tackled this case, but I just want to rub it in here, just to emphasize the need for those proceedings to come out so that our pending appeal at the Supreme Court can do its duty in the interest of posterity and justice. Conclusion. In the light of the foregoing and the fact that times have changed, government and the traditional institution, as a deliberate policy, must treat all citizens fairly and equitably all the time. That will inculcate a sense of dignity and self-respect in them in return for their total loyalty and patriotism to the system, to motivate them sufficiently to contribute meaningfully to the peace, stability, and progress of our fatherland. May God crown the effort of this honorable commission with success to recommend what will usher in permanent peace and stability to our polity once and for all, for the glory of our dear country.
Well, you were saying in conclusion, but that really is about the beginning.
Yes, sir.
Now,
is that not a convenient time to adjourn?
Yes, it will be. It will be.
So that we start with fresh vigor.
Yes, my lord. With the permission of my lawyer, there is one short letter I refer to. It's just few.
Tomorrow you start.
Tomorrow,
so that,
yes.
Yes, my lord.
Now everybody looks tired. So tomorrow when we have more energy.
Thank you, my lord.
Council did mention a case. This case is adjourned till tomorrow. Proceed. Someone mentioned a case of a struck out. Yes. I ask you to agree with council for the. It's 413.
We would have agreed. We would have done that. It's just that there's a small matter that we needed to bring to the attention of the Honorable Tribunal. Other than that, it's just 2-3 minutes and we could finish.
You want it struck out?
Yes, we want it struck out.
Anybody opposing? Anybody opposing?
No. It's not. No, that I'm the one that is defending the striking out.
Well, are the others opposing the striking out?
My lord, we'll
call the case then. If both sides are not agreed, then we don't strike out. If they agreed, we strike out. Call the case. 413. No, if you strike out now.
413. Honorable Mohammed Inu Aliu.
Is there any agreement on striking out?
413. Honorable Mohammed.
If none, then we adjourn it tomorrow.
There is no objection, my lord.
Striking out?
Yes.
Well, call the case struck out then. Appearances?
Yes. As the commission pleases. Petition number 413. Honorable Mohammed Inu Aliu.